If you're looking into starting a permanent jewelry business, you need to know what materials and what metals are best because that can not only affect your profits drastically, but it can also affect your reputation. And so I'm joined by Adel Cruz. She's our lead trainer here at Linked Permanent Jewelry Training. We're the largest training company in the world. And my name is Jake Randolph. I'm the owner. So welcome, Adel.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Awesome. So we've trained thousands of students on doing permanent jewelry, and based on what they've told us and your experience as well, what do you consider the best metals for permanent jewelry?
The best metals for permanent jewelry are definitely sterling silver, 14 karat gold, or gold filled. Those are the recommended metals to go with.
Awesome. So let's talk about the pros and cons of each, starting with sterling silver.
Sterling silver is a beautiful metal. I like it for those who prefer the even white gold, but sterling silver is a more economical type metal. It's easy to weld. It comes out beautifully, nice and smooth usually when it's welded. I like it. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and the only con with sterling silver is that it can tarnish. And so do you have any tips for that?
For tarnishing, as long as you clean it, it will maintain its color. That's just gonna happen. People's pH, if they use perfumes, body lotions, things like that, that's gonna affect it, obviously. But that can happen with any type of jewelry.
Yeah, and I know I've had my sterling silver bracelet on for 2 years now, and it still looks brand new. And so I've never had any issues with sterling silver. Let's talk about gold filled now.
Gold filled is also a beautiful option. It is a strong metal for permanent jewelry. It's the go-to. And same like that, it's all about maintaining your jewelry. You want to keep it clean. It's simple maintenance.
Yeah, and so some people ask, well, what if it turns my skin green? And that's actually gold plated, right?
Yeah, usually that's a gold plated type sign.
Yeah, so definitely make sure that you're buying gold filled and not gold plated. Now, I will say a disclaimer, be careful who you buy from because we've seen a lot of sellers out there, especially a lot of small shops out there online that say that it's gold filled, but then some of our students have gotten it in and it was actually turned people's skin green, and so it ended up being plated. And so be careful, only buy from reputable people. That's why we offer so many options here at linkedpermanentjewelrytraining.com. So we've talked about sterling silver, we've talked about gold filled. What about 14 karat gold?
14 karat gold is the prime elite metal. It is long lasting. It is not going to turn in color. That's also something that you want to maintain. Obviously, you want to keep it clean. You want to clean it up. But it is a beautiful metal. It works wonderfully for permanent jewelry. It's long lasting. It's the best option in my opinion.
And obviously the cons of solid gold is expensive.
Yes.
And so it's going to be the most expensive option. And if you're just starting out, you're probably going to be on a tighter budget when you're trying to build up your inventory. And so you don't have to have a ton of solid gold. In fact, what I see is, I asked Peyton, she's one of our students doing over $50,000 a month on average. And I said, Peyton, what is your most popular that you get? And she said, gold filled is by far her most popular, followed by sterling silver.
Yep.
And then she says she doesn't sell that much solid gold.
Yeah, neither do I actually. So these are all great options without having to break the bank with the 14 karat right away.
Yeah, and I'll give you guys a quick pricing tip. This is something I've never seen anybody else teach. I'm a marketer at heart, and so I love pricing psychology. You want to offer at least 1 to 2 styles of solid gold. Why? Because now you can have something that is a higher price point. We see Apple do this all the time. You go into Apple and it's like, oh, I can get an iPhone SE for $299.
Right.
And then, okay, well, there's one with more memory. There's one with bigger storage. There's one with a better camera. And then, at that point, you're at a $2,000 phone. And so that's a wide range. But what does that do for most people? It makes them usually go somewhere in the middle, somewhere around that $1,000 phone. And so you could do the same thing with yours. Like have a gold option that's, let's call it $300 for a bracelet. And that's going to make people be like, wow, their gold filled is only $100 for a bracelet. That's a much better value. And so what that's called is price anchoring. You're anchoring towards a higher price. You're comparing it to something higher priced so that your other prices looks much more reasonable. And that's a quick hack on raising your prices.
And I also think that it also depends on the events that you're doing. For example, you want to say you're doing a wedding or a very high-end type of event.
Yeah.
You want to have those options. Therefore, you can charge more.
Exactly.
And it's all, worth the while.
Yeah, and it depends on your area. Like, we have a client in South Florida who she says she only sells solid gold because she has a luxury clientele. So it's going to depend on your area. But some other types that are very, very popular, which are kind of like subsets of those main metals, one is mixed metals. Mixed metals are all the rage right now. Like we're staying sold out on our website with mixed metals. So what is a mixed metal?
Mixed metal is either gold-filled and sterling silver. We have an option here on display here. They're beautiful and elegant. And it gives it for those people that like both. You know, some people only like, you know, gold or silver, but this is an option that has both.
Yeah, I think some of our mixed metal options, this one's the Adel. We also have some on our site. Actually, this is,
There's the Amanda, there's the Leo.
Yeah, the Leo James was named after my son, was just recently born. So that one's my favorite chain, but maybe I'm biased.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, mixed metals are all the rage. Also, now that we're on fall season, the holidays, college football season, enamel has been very popular.
Yes, it's huge. It's also a fun option to have at festivals, you know, food markets, things like that, because it's also a better economical choice to have. You know, you could offer those for less expensive than the gold filled or the sterling silver. And one thing you got to kind of keep in mind is that you don't want to say that it's a forever chain.
Right.
So you also need to price it at that level and also make sure that you explain it to your client, hey, this isn't going to last you forever like a gold filled or sterling silver would. Because sometimes the enamel can chip away with time. Yeah,
and so a lot of our students will say, hey, this is a seasonal piece, which is awesome because you're setting the expectation to your customer that it's not, you know, permanent.
Right.
And it also creates repeat customers because they have the expectation they're going to come back and get something different after this particular season when they want to change it out.
Definitely.
And so the reason enamel doesn't last as long is it's not because of the material, because the enamel is either going to be built into sterling silver or gold filled. But so that's not the issue. It's the part that it's just the enamel might chip off or it's not going to last as long as the metals themselves.
Exactly.
But we're finding that enamel stuff like different colors, different designs are so popular. In fact, if you go to linkedpermanentjewelrytraining.com, you can actually go to our supplies and filter by most popular or best selling. And that way you can see what our other students are buying right now. We have a community of over 3,000 permanent jewelry artists. So I also wanted to bring up stainless steel. You know, stainless steel has been thrown around a lot. We get a lot of questions about it. Now, stainless steel, you know, we've got some examples right here. It is not, quote, built for permanent jewelry. What a lot of people do, like for example, Peyton, she says that she uses stainless steel for like kids parties or kids events. Obviously, if you're working with kids, you want to have, you know, adult supervision and, you know, guardians and all the legal stuff. But with stainless steel, you know, a lot of people would use jump rings, right?
Yes, this you would definitely want to use a jump ring, a gold filled or sterling silver jump ring. You don't want to use the actual stainless steel because it's a very strong metal. You want to have a weak point, a breaking point that you could just cut off with scissors or pliers real quick. This is a tougher metal to cut through. So you don't want any accidents.
So you would just put the jump ring in, right, and then just weld the jump ring?
Yes.
Awesome. And what material jump rings do you prefer?
I like the gold filled. It also depends on like what, you know, like for example, this one's black. So I would probably do sterling silver to make it look, you know, nice and aesthetic.
So the pros of stainless steel is the cost. So stainless steel is going to be much cheaper, but it's obviously not going to last as long. But the advantage of that is now you could have a, you know, let's say that you're maybe in an area that has less income, or you want to have an entry-level option, just like I talked about with an iPhone SE and Apple. And so your entry-level option could be stainless steel. You could have bracelets for, let's say, $39. People come to your table, they're like, oh, that's a great price. But then you're like, well, if you want something to last longer, if you want something a little nicer, and then you upsell them to a different option.
Definitely.
Awesome. So if you're already a permanent jewelry artist, I'd love to know, what are your most popular styles right now? What do you love? And put it in the chat, put it in the comments. And if you have any questions about getting started about permanent jewelry, I actually wrote a book called Side Hustle to Six Figures. This has so many resources in it, whether it's permanent jewelry checklist, event checklist, how to start your business, how to market your business. And we offer this at linkedpermanentjewelrytraining.com. We'll put a description below. And then last but not least, we have options for in-person training here in Orlando, Florida.
Yes.
We do monthly in-person trainings. Adel's our head trainer. And then we have an online course. Adel, what do you think people, love the most, the online course, the in-person, or what's the pros and cons?
I'm seeing a lot of love for both, but hands-on definitely, you could come in, you get more training, not more training, let me back up. It's more so that confidence
Yeah.
and you have someone next to you explaining every step of the way, so that when you leave, you're confident that you could just start your business right away.
Perfect. So awesome. If you want to learn how to, stock up on these chains, develop inventory, what to bring to events, check out some of the other videos here on our YouTube channel, and we see you there.
Bye.